Our primary election is right around the corner, coming up on March 17th, and Chicago needs election judges. You can help your neighbors cast their votes by going to pollworker.chicagoelections.gov. You do have to be a U.S. citizen and a registered voter in Cook County, but you can earn $230 for your service. Plus, if you're bilingual in Spanish, Hindi, Polish, Korean, Chinese, or Tagalog, then they definitely need your help. To learn more and apply, head to pollworker.chicagoelections.gov or call 312-269-7984. Today on CityCast Chicago, maybe you scrambling for last minute reservations. Maybe your V-Day plans have been locked in, or maybe you rocking solo dolo. Regardless, you've probably got a wild dating story in Chicago. And today we're hitting the streets to hear some of the good, bad, and ugly of dating in the city. It's Thursday, February 12th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago is talking about. We've got producer Michelle Navarro in the building. Always good to have you here, my friend.
Hey, Jacoby.
We've also got newsletter editor Emmi Mack in the building. How you feeling, Emmi?
I'm feeling excited to talk about dating in Chicago. And I'll still say, hey, Chicago, even though our newsletter has officially changed names to CityCast Chicago.
I absolutely like this pink hair that you're rocking right now, my G.
Do you see the shirt?
It says emotional baggage for our listeners. I love it.
All right. Before we start listening to the people Michelle talked to out on the streets, Emmi, I'm going to start with you. What is the worst date you've ever been on?
So to truly understand how bad this date was, you have to understand that a week before, the best date I'd ever been on was with this guy. So the stakes were very high. I had a crush on him in high school, seen him around. And then when I came back from college, we ran into each other and made a plan. And the first date, we went to the rooftop of the Hotel Lincoln to see a screening of my best friend's wedding. It was one of my favorite movies, classic Chicago movie, had so much fun. When we were done, he drove me home down Lakeshore Drive in the D'Amato's delivery van because he was a D'Amato's delivery driver. So I was just like completely smitten. I was like, he's cute. It smells like focaccia in here. Like, this is like really working for me. And then a few days later, we met up again. What I do remember is we're in his house. He puts on the movie Hot Rod, which really not okay with. I'm sorry. And men really hate when I say that I hate the movie Hot Rod, which makes me hate it even more. And so he's got Hot Rod on like full volume, and we drinking a little bit, but like nothing near enough to explain that he just like knocks out completely, snoring, like practically drooling on the couch, basically in the middle of talking to me. The second date hadn't been going very well to begin with, but I was like, it was giving narcolepsy. I was shaking him awake because at that point, now I'm watching Hot Rod alone. And I was like, I gotta go. So I'm just trying to be polite and let him know I'm leaving. I'm, not wanting to scream in his face, but he was really snoring. And eventually I was just like, I'm out of here. So I walk outside and I see there's this giant, like 12-foot, huge black guardrail fence across his parents' driveway, because obviously I forgot to mention that he lived in his parents' basement. Huge locked gate, not the kind of thing you could shimmy under or around at all. So then I'm like, screw it. So then I just start climbing up the thing. I'm almost at the top. I'm, in short shorts. It was the summer. And there's the spiky things at the top. And then suddenly, while I'm straddling the top of this fence, it starts moving slowly to the side. And I'm freaking out and gripping on for dear life. And then I turn around and I see this guy's dad on the front porch holding an automatic clicker thing. So I guess it was, an automated moving fence. And then he just sees me, most of my thighs. I'm so scared. And then he has just the blankest expression on his face. Like, this is not the first time a girl has scurried out of that basement and gotten stuck on top of the moving fence at all. He didn't apologize or ask me how I was getting home or anything. So then I just, took a 12-foot jump and ran down the street, waited to hail a yellow cab because Uber wasn't a thing yet. Yeah. And I would say that was my best and worst date in 1 week in Chicago. And I know if that story sounds familiar to you all, it did happen in Bridesmaids. It's not my fault. My life is a rom-com without the rom.
Michelle, do you have a story of the worst date you've had?
Not as good as those two. I think in general, I can just describe bad dates that I've had as boring, where the other person doesn't ask me a question the whole day. And then at the end, they're like, this was so much fun. Can I see you again? And I'm like, you just liked someone listening to you. And as a producer, I'm really good at listening. So you could tell why I get that a lot.
Well, luckily you are a great producer and a great listener, and you went out on the streets to listen to some of the worst dates that the people you ran into could offer up.
So I went to Hyde Park to talk to Chicagoans out on the street about their dating experiences and what it's like to date in the city. And I first asked them, what are some of their worst dates they've ever been on?
One time I went to a guy's house and he was on house arrest and he didn't tell me. The thing is, he started with, oh, I don't really want to spend a lot of money right now. Why don't you come over? We'll play some video games or something. I was like, okay, fair enough. And I get there and he's like, yeah, actually, I can't really go out because I got this on, and holds out his ankle monitor. I was like, oh, I gotta go. I have to leave. Like, I had no follow-up questions. I was like, that's enough for me. I told one of my friends about that, and she said, well, at least he couldn't follow you out.
The worst of a date? Oh, man, I don't think y'all want to hear that. Like, I'd have had a date where I almost got robbed on the date. I thought I was on a date, but to come to find out she was suspecting money, and I didn't know. It turned left really fast. She got on the phone, and some people pulled up. And I got out of there as fast as possible.
Not the setup.
It was definitely a setup, yeah. But I learned from that, though.
No, I had a Tinder date set up. We had been talking online for like a week or so, and I was really feeling it. He said he'd pick me up, take me to this pizza spot. I was like, cool, that sounds like a vibe. And he picks me up. We start driving. We're talking. Everything's normal. It's up in South Loop, and we get there, and he's like, oh, the parking is trash here. Will you hop out and help me park? I was like, yeah, for sure, because someone parked like crap in front of him. And I hop out. He rolls down the window. I'm like, okay, a little further. I'm waving him on, and he drives off. I was like, I texted him. I was like, do you want me to meet up with you down the street? Did you find another spot? And he texts me. He's just like, I'm not feeling it. I'll call you an Uber. I was appalled.
I will say to the first story about the ankle monitor, I have done that and did know, so more power to her.
When I was talking to her, she had made a point, like, if he had said, like, this is my situation, she's like, I would have respected it more, and then I would have made a choice of just like, yeah, I'll go hang out with him. It was the lying part that really got to her, which I could understand.
Were all the stories like extreme? Because it's like, someone was deceptive, somebody pulled off on you, somebody tried to set you up to get robbed. Did anybody just have like some bad fish, or just like the conversation was stale?
Someone told me they had a really lovely, what they thought was going to be a really lovely day on the lakefront. And it was like the vibe was good. They had been texting. But then when they, they pulled up to the lakefront, dude started oversharing, talking about exes, talking about pregnancy scares. And she was like, yeah, maybe you should talk to somebody else. And so oversharing was a big one that people brought up. I think other experiences too were just, when the vibe isn't right, when people are just boring. And so those were definitely the highlights for sure, the more extreme worst dates.
Where can you find some of Chicago's best pianists while sipping a mimosa or Manhattan slushie on a Sunday afternoon? Would you be shocked if I told you it's inside a former 7-Eleven? Yes, the venue is called The Checkout and it's from Access Contemporary Music. The next concert is February 15th, featuring Natasha Stojanovska, who's played in some of the top classical venues in the world, but it will be her first time in a former 7-Eleven. And her program is going to be eclectic. I'm talking 19th century French music to new pieces from Chicago composers. And if you're thinking, Kobe, that sounds dope, but it also sounds hella expensive, well, you're lucky. Tickets are only $20. And on top of that, you can get 20% off when you use promo code PIANO. You can do it at thecheckout.org. Solo piano spotlight at the checkout. Beautiful music, unexpected vibes. And yes, they got the adult slushies. They took something from their predecessor. That's code PIANO at thecheckout.org. Look, if your heat has been running more than it should be, it could be because your windows aren't really doing what they're supposed to and they're letting the heat out and the cold in. Admittedly, I'm sitting in front of a draft right now myself and probably should take my own advice because the pros at Window Nation can help us get new, energy-efficient windows at a great price, especially because they're having a buy four, get four free deal right now. Plus, they're going to throw in an extra 10% off for Valentine's Day. What's more romantic than popping out with some new windows, right? That's on top of 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. Replace your old drafty windows with high quality custom ones from Window Nation. And don't wait. Schedule a fast free estimate now at windownation.com. Let's broaden this out a little bit. You all have kind of mentioned aspects of the dates that I can imagine are terrible, right? People are not listening. People are boring. Like people's idea of a date is a basement with hot rod, and that ain't gelling for you. But Emmi, what do you think are generally the worst things about dating in Chicago?
I think just everyone knowing each other. If you're especially in a certain neighborhood or tangential to that neighborhood. I mean, I grew up here, so I know everybody. And if you're interested in someone, of course, someone you know is already going to have something horrible to say about them from when they went out with them. And it's just like hard to find someone who is not having a trail of drama following them or that you've already gotten to know really well and grew up with. I mean, and that happens even when I'm meeting people that didn't grow up in Chicago. Like, last week, I finally broke my no dating streak. I didn't go on really any dates in 2025 because of this exact problem that I'm describing. But like a week or two ago, I met up with this guy at Kohl's. I actually was there with a friend, a girl, and I was like, you can meet us if you want to have a drink. And I kind of thought that was the way to do it because, it was from an app. So I'm like, then if he's weird, like, it's pretty chill. He came and he was perfectly nice. And the three of us were having a good time together and hanging out. And then we all went into the photo booth and did a photo strip. And then my friend dipped out. And because I was feeling the guy, she left with the photo strip and ended up taping it to her fridge where she has hundreds of photo strips from bars. And then the next morning, her roommate comes out of her room and is like, who's that guy in the photo strip? And, her roommate had, like, it's just impossible. And the whole time I was on a date with this guy, I was like, I can't believe there's no overlap. And it's just like, it's impossible.
It is.
Yeah. So that's definitely the worst part about dating in Chicago.
In a city of nearly 3 million, I can 100% merge this with y'all. Like, the amount of people who have mutuals who I've gone on a date with a person just to then find out like some years later that they're like the best friend to one of my best friend's partners and like who they met afterwards. Like, if you go to the same place too many times, it feels like I got one spot in Chicago that feels like an 8th grade reunion spot. Every time I go there, I'm seeing grammar school friends, a spot that I'm always seeing people from high school and then from college. And so, yeah, trying to connect with people. I remember going on a first date and somehow it ended up getting posted on someone's Instagram. And I had like 3 friends reach out and was just like, hey, I see the pictures that you ended up. How you know that person? I'm like, are you talking to this person? Like, where, like, just the amount of overlap in this city. It in the last 10 years, it has never ceased to amaze me.
We need fresh blood here is the problem.
I will say one more thing that I I found really hard in dating back in the day was it is really hard for me to listen to people talk about how like boring the city is or how there's nothing to do. Like we can talk all day about how we've done the same things or we see the same people, but the idea like there is nothing to do or there's no adventure or people who are always sort of looking out of the city are always sort of thinking towards like that next vacation, that next getaway. That annoys me. Like I feel like there is so much even if we're just thinking free, low key things to like pass the time. But like if that is your constant uh way of thinking about the city, your constant disposition about like going, right? People say, oh, there's never any place to go out in Chicago. I'm just like, I just don't agree with that.
It's people telling on themselves, though, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, it can be helpful. Like, if you're not a fun person, might as well know now. But no, I agree. I think it's so annoying when you go on a date and it's a film bro, and then he's like, yeah, I'm going to move to New York probably in like the next 6 to 8 months. And it's like, cool. First of all, good luck.
First of all, no, you're not. Second of all, good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Michelle, you put this question to some folks you asked. Again, let's hear what their response was.
What is the most challenging thing about dating in Chicago?
I would say because it's a big city, some of the navigation, you know, if your man lives in Rogers Park and you live in Hyde Park, that's a little bit difficult to get around. It's kind of segregated, so it's kind of hard to just like date like outside of your race a little bit. So I would say that's a struggle. Yeah, those are the two biggest things.
Actually, we've not really dated anybody besides each other in Chicago. But the most challenging thing about dating in Chicago is the weather. Like, it's really tough to go out and be out and about on wintry evenings and nights.
Broke men. Like, I mean, I'm not rich, but like people expecting me to drive them places or like pay for the whole date, or they think smoking in their car is a date. That's even worse.
The most challenging thing I would probably be communication. More than anything, just being on the same page with people.
I would say just being willing to trust people.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't really want to give all of ourselves to somebody because you don't know if they're crazy, you don't know this, you don't know that. So just having a willingness to open up.
Definitely a few of those I hard agree with. I think communication in general, regardless of where you are, like people's standard for communication, emotional vulnerability, self-awareness, like all of these things exist on a spectrum, and the combination of these attributes is often underwhelming out in these streets. I agree. The city is really segregated. It is maybe it's difficult, especially to maintain relationships across neighborhoods, across the, you know, if somebody is far up north and you on the south side of the city, I can definitely the person I'm dating now, when we met, we didn't realize it, but we live like 5 blocks from each other. It made things a lot easier that we could just walk and hang out with each other, that it was easier to just be in our neighborhood. That was a huge advantage, on top of the fact that, again, all of those other things worked for us. Our communication, we didn't mind going out in the weather. I think a lot of people, especially if you were born and raised here, like, I don't know, I feel like we are like looking over our shoulder. Like at least me, my first interaction, there's always like a wall there, some distrust there, a little paranoia. And so I definitely understand why those are big challenges for people. What are y'all thoughts hearing that?
I feel the same way about friendships across the city and trying to meet people who aren't in my direct social network. You know, I want to get beyond knowing people that are beyond friends of friends, even from different neighborhoods and different parts of the city. But it is physically hard. And if everyone's feeling that way and not everyone's putting themselves out there necessarily, and it's hard at, you know, events even just to go talk to strangers. But so yeah, some of my good friends are luckily people that were friendly when we just kind of started talking as strangers at shows or whatever. I just want to say, on the topic of long distance relationships, I am talking to a guy right now who lives in Indiana and works at the oil refinery in Whiting, and he claims he's coming to see me in the city this Saturday. He texted me and he said, "Well, does Saturday work?" And I said, "Saturday is Valentine's Day." And he said, "Oh, is it? We shall see. Like, if he wanted to, he would, is true. And he's saying he will, but like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, believe it when you see it.
I'm not getting my hopes up, but like, I will update you on Monday if that actually took place. Because I'm gonna be shocked.
Michelle, what were your thoughts to broke men? Because when I heard that, I get it. Because it's not just the absence of like money or resources. It's also usually the absence of creativity, the absence of self-awareness. There's sort of a broke mentality, a lack of effort, this constant like, oh, no, in the future sort of mentality versus sort of taking account for like what is and sort of being present in that. And so I understand that it is more than just like lack of money, even though I think we all understand dating is expensive.
Dating is expensive. This was something that was really interesting because it got brought up a lot. And of course, I couldn't play everything that I got from, our fellow Chicagoans out in the streets. But she was the only person who mentioned men and money. But I would say there was about 3 men that mentioned women and money, expressing that one of the biggest challenges for them that they thought dating in Chicago was that they needed money to take women on dates, that women expect a lot. The term gold digger came up. And dating is like, you can't go out with your friends if you don't have money. You know what I mean? It's the same. It applies the same rules. Like, you can find very inexpensive things in the city. I think the city has so many things to do. I mean, a free museum day, like, that's completely free. There's so many free things to do. But I was kind of taken back by how many men were complaining about, because that's what it felt like. It felt like they were complaining to me that women expect money. And a really wise man on the internet once said, "Women are naturally expensive. Pick one in your price range and shut up." And I agree. I just think that there's a lot of women out there who don't expect a lot. There's a lot of women who just want someone to just hold their hand and take them on a free day to the Art Institute and tell her she's pretty and listen to her. Like, I don't know. And this goes for all genders. You know what I mean? This doesn't just go man to woman, woman to man. Like, I think there is, of course, expectations. Different people have expectations. But if that's what you keep running into, it's like, maybe you're not looking in the right way, Like, find someone that's in your price range and shut up.
I will say, like, I expect nothing. Like, it's so funny when I hear guys complaining about that. Like, I think a perfect first date is going to the cheapest dive bar that's equidistant between the two of you, because that way no one can say they wasted too much money or wasted a bunch of time. I used to complain about every guy being unemployed. I mean, I still do, but I try to be a little bit more cognizant because so many of my friends have gone through layoffs and the job market is horrible right now. I definitely have known a lot of guys who just were being pretty unambitious, you can call it, before all of that. But now that we're in the situation we're in, it has completely changed the way that I react if I'm on a date and I hear the guy is not working and can't afford like my $5 vodka soda.
And again, everyone's different. Everyone's experience are different. I do appreciate being wooed. And being wooed doesn't always mean money. But sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't,
I think the way some people sort of forecast out this sort of hypothetical of how much money they will or won't spend or what they're expected to buy, I think some of that is rooted in, misogyny and ridiculous expectations and sort of being taught about the dating world and the dating scene through sort of what you've processed through media and seen on social and seen on social. So, I found things to be a lot more realistic. People are a lot more open to just like conversation, talking through your situation, bringing what they have to the table. If I've ever been on a date with somebody who expects whether it's a full on lifestyle or either has dating expectations that are like completely outside of my economic ability, that's just a place where we realize we don't have something in common and we move on.
It's compatibility at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
It's never a moment to completely cast dispersions and generalities across half of the world. It's
or all of Chicago, apparently.
Right. All of the potential partners across the city. It's just like, again, I think we can all agree dating is expensive, but that is in the same sense of living is expensive. Going out to eat is expensive.
Right.
Hanging out with your friends is expensive. But the idea that everyone expects you to fully provide and to shower them in just like gifts and trinkets all the time.
My favorite date is like getting something to eat and going on a really long walk, which is free. The lakefront is completely free. Going to the beach is free. The zoo is free. If you just if money is what the issue is for you, like if you think that's it, you have to move around. You have to find someone that will appreciate your presence and all the free stuff that's in the city.
All right, so we can't end on a negative note. What are some of the best things about dating in Chicago?
You meet a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities, and you get to see parts of Chicago that you've never been to before.
I say the diversity. Once you get over the hump of getting out of your own neighborhood, because it's kind of segregated, there's so many different people here, different ages, different backgrounds. So yeah, I would say it's just diverse.
Best thing about dating in the city of Chicago, I would say that it's a city you meet people from all across the country. I mean, from all different countries. So it's such if you're a person that's looking to meet different groups and different cultures, I think that's probably the best. The fact that you can go anywhere from like Hyde Park and have an amazing experience, or up north, it's just so many different culture groups. I think that would probably be the best part.
I feel like being in the Midwest, I have family on the East Coast. People are just way more down to earth here. Like, you can date people that have like an intention of having a family, but also still want to have fun and be young. So I think you have like a really good like in between dating vibe versus like California, people are forever young. Same thing with New York, Chicago is in between. So I like it here.
I just agree that people are down to earth here in general. And in a nutshell, that would be what I liked about dating in Chicago too. Except for the weird dates I've been on. So I'd say half the people here are down to earth, actually.
No, I found that to be consistent. And you find so many Chicagoans who are, multi-hyphenate and who have a lot of interest. And they're typically out here trying to figure out how to make something shake. And again, those are just cool people to come across and meet, even if it's just for a night. I will say, the fact that so many cool people live here and are so inventive and are constantly putting up like really cool, unique events, it gives you an opportunity to kind of meet maybe just a handful of people at a time who you may share some interest with. And so I think that's an advantage of Chicago, is that there are a lot of curated spaces for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, there is. And that's what I would say is the best thing for me is like, you can get on the train platform and see someone that might pique your interest on the train. Or
I would
you could
never talk to somebody on the train.
I would.
Oh my God.
I think people just need to talk more.
I'm not finna interrupt some lady at the train station trying to get home.
No, Jacoby. It's like there's a feeling, there's like a look. If the person does not look at you, you leave that person alone. But if there's like this glance and like you look again and
I've missed 100 looks in my life, Michelle.
If the spirit moves you, like you will say something or they will say something to you. I kind of do wish people would be open to talking more and with no expectation of there being a number exchange, a date, like just talking for the sake of talking.
I'm really good at that. I will strike up a conversation with you at a bar, but I'm never going to then go, oh, can I get your number? And then I'm going to just leave it at like, hey.
You don't have to. Like, there's been so many times where people will say something to me very charming and they'll leave me alone. And I was like, wow, that was great. They complimented me and they left me alone. Like, it's kind of like, I think more people should flirt more. And in this way of, we're not getting anything out of each other. We're just enjoying each other's presence and time because we're both right here and we're paying attention to each other. And we're fascinated by each other for some reason.
I'm at the age where none of my friends have time for meaningless flirting that goes nowhere. All of my homegirls, they don't got a single time for another failed talking stage, another 3 dates to nowhere.
You're connecting it to like expectations versus like, just appreciating someone's present in that moment and then leaving them alone. Like, it doesn't have to be.
I hear you.
Okay, so I'm like Gen Z millennial cusp, and I have talked to my guy friends about this. The problem is that the apps have changed everyone's brain chemistry, and they're like, why would I risk potential embarrassment with anyone in the wild when on my phone there's a guaranteed check mark that says she also thinks I'm cute? And like, I seriously think that, I'm sure a lot of girls feel this way too, but like, a lot of my guy friends have talked about, like, even if I'm sitting next to a girl at my local bar and we're both alone, like, and whatever, she seems friendly, I'm not going to talk to her. And I think they tell themselves it's because they don't want to be creepy, but I think in reality they're scared. And the apps have made them all the more terrified. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it's a cycle that keeps feeding on itself.
Before I wrapped up in Hyde Park, I also, of course, had to ask people for their advice for Chicagoans that are looking for love.
I think you just have to be out there, do things like join clubs, meet new people. I guess like form groups of convenience, do things that you like. Other people who like that will come there. You meet people like that.
Yeah, I guess like just don't settle just because you're looking for someone. This is not for Chicagoans, I guess, but like anyone. Yeah, just don't settle. There's like good out there. I believe so.
Don't rush into things so much. Really slow down. Think about who you're trying to get with. Think about the personality. Don't worry too much. Love comes and goes, but when you're really with somebody, you'll know if they're for you or not.
Honestly, get out of your comfort zone. That would be my advice to myself. I wish I had more, but I don't really know too much. Tell me, honestly.
My advice is just be outside. The apps are mostly trash. Do activities that you love and just shoot your shot. Come up, like walk to somebody at the grocery store, like men and women. It's equality now, so we both got to shoot our shot.
Well, I would say don't look for love. Love yourself and let love find you. When you love yourself, you is to begin to attract the right type of person on the right frequency. When you're not even looking for them, they just show up.
Just be open to receiving and let go of your past, let go of your expectations, and allow yourself to be free with someone.
Take your time. Do your homework on you. Don't take anybody that's not successfully successful with themselves completely. You can't go in a relationship fixing someone. The only person you're responsible for is yourself. When I was a matchmaker, grocery stores were a place to meet people. We didn't have the internet then, and they had places, horse bars, laundromat. That is the place. Who can't fall in love washing their underwear together? You know what I'm saying? That's a really nice place. And grocery shopping, I love grocery shopping. When I met my partner, I'm a gay man. We fell in love at first sight at a gay men's meeting for people living with HIV. It was just like in the movies. I didn't believe it either, but we saw each other ever since for 20 years. That was the man of my dreams. He still is. And I was his. You gotta believe in love if you want to achieve it.
Hey, I absolutely love that. I will say though, I'm at the laundromat or the grocery store. Leave me the hell alone. I want to get my things. I want to go home.
That's easy for you to say, Jacoby. You're in love.
Hey, but I also grocery shop and been to the laundromat.
If I'm in the grocery store and if you're cute and emotionally available and not avoidant,
Come holla at me.
yeah, sure. Come tell me you like bok choy too. Like, it's okay. Like, don't be scared. You know what I mean? Like, I just think, like, again, if the spirit moves you, if something in you says, go talk to that woman.
Michelle's advice is work on yourself, but shoot your shot. Be open to meeting people, doing some flirting, whether it's at the grocery store, the gym, the train platform. Michelle says shoot your shot. My advice is always cliche as hell, but it has served me well. Like, go do the things you love. Go show up at the places you'd want to go on dates, whether that's pottery or rug making. Like, go to the events that you find interesting and hopefully would draw people you'd have a lot in common with. And when you're there in those comfortable places, feel free to get outside of your comfort zone. Emmi, what would be your piece of advice?
Not putting pressure on yourself to find a partner, because you're going to find one regardless, or you're not. Why stress out the whole time? And on that note of just like taking this whole dating game a bit less seriously, this is more practical advice. Bring a friend with you on your first app date. And I'm really speaking to girls because I actually would probably be freaked out if I met up and there were two guys. But like, it's so much more fun, I think, if, you know, your friend is a friendly person, and then it eases the tension of meeting up with a literal stranger. I think it eases the tension for both parties. And then, you know, worst case scenario, you take a photo strip together, she puts it on her fridge, and it turns out her roommate was already involved with the guy. We just saved some time. We just saved time. Always bring a girlfriend with.
If you all are listening and you have advice you want to share, best and worst dating stories, please reach out to us at 773-780-0246 or send us an email. I want to give a huge thank you to our guest today, newsletter editor Emmi Mack. Appreciate you making time, and as always, sharing your stories.
Thank you, Jacoby. Thanks, Michelle.
Michelle Navarro, our producer. Thank you for hitting the streets and bringing back some amazing stories.
Thank you.
As always, we appreciate y'all for listening and reading, and you know we can't get out of here without some good news. I got the perfect place for y'all to maybe go meet some people. Starting this Saturday, the annual spring flower shows are open at both the Lincoln Park and Garfield Park conservatories, running until Mother's Day, mid-May. Spring plants and flowers will be found at both conservatories, rain or shine. Lincoln Park is home to Jewels of Spring, featuring beautiful spring tulips, daisies, and they're highlighting the achium, a colorful plant adorned with flowers and spikes that stand at 2 to 3 feet tall. And Garfield Park is showing its showers of flowers, featuring more than 80 hanging baskets, featuring trailing vines and colorful flowers. I will drop links in the show notes because they are free, but you do want to make sure you set up a time to visit. Make sure you bookmark our website, chicago.citycast.fm, sign up for our daily newsletter, and be back here bright and early tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Peace. Because you have some of the greatest and wildest stories.
I know. And you're hearing the safe for work versions too.